Hey guys, welcome back to The Audacity. I wanted to do it a little different for this episode because this month we are focusing on personal wardrobe unpacked. What does that mean? I know it sounds a little crazy. Personal wardrobe, obviously, we talk about our appearance, how we show up in the world, code switching, the way we act around certain people. All these things go into our personal wardrobe. A big reason why I wanted to touch on this topic was because I'm in a position where I am finding myself needing to adjust and change. And a lot of the conversations I'm having with people, they're in the same boat. So I wanted to come on here just plain as possible. Along my journey, you guys know I have to cut off my hair just because I was experiencing alopecia. But you also know I'm big on my appearance. I am big on my hair. I am big on making sure that I show up the way I feel confident and comfortable. So it wasn't going to last very long being in my natural state. Nevertheless, this episode is going to talk about dressing up your value. Dressing up your value is going to consist of finding out where you are internally and how you show up externally, right? So for some of us, we may feel one way about ourselves on the inside, but we fake it till we make it on the outside. Or we can completely flip it and we could feel one way about ourselves on the outside, on the inside. And on the outside, everyone knows about it because we're showing it, we're projecting this feeling. So dressing up our value is going to talk about that, but also in relation to wardrobe, how we dress, how we show up in these mental states. So I'm super excited to jump in. As you know, we are partnering with Her Movement. So definitely make sure you go follow their Instagram pages, follow their Facebook pages, and of course, subscribe to their YouTube channel. Because although I share my episodes with them, they have some amazing content that they share with you guys. So make sure you check out my caption. All the descriptions, all the things are there. And of course, it's in my intro. So stay tuned. Let's get into it. So let's go back a little bit. I have always been a very fashionable type of gal. Okay, at least I like to think so. And when I went to college, y'all, I know I talked about this before, so just bear with me if you've been following me for a minute. But when I went to college, I learned how to walk in heels because I wanted to be a part of this model organization. And it went from me wearing them just for that audition, y'all, to every day I wore heels. And now that I take a step back and I kind of think back through my mental state, my process, it was for a reason. But hold on to that. We gonna loop back around. But I think back to even further, right? In high school. High school was crazy for me because prior to that, I wasn't the girl people wanted to talk to, okay? I was considered super dark. I had names, okay? People would love to compare me to different things because of my complexion. I have very hairy arms, and those things kind of made me less desirable, not just from boys, but from people in general. So going into high school in this new body, okay? Y'all know where I'm going with this. Puberty has hit, okay? I'm learning a little bit more about myself. My confidence is based in my appearance, and it was something that my mom had always talked to me about. Like how she used to always get her hair done and how she put pride into her outfits. And I must admit, I was a little tomboy, y'all. I wasn't into my physical appearance. I was just like happy to be here. I love to write. I love school. What else is there? You know, I'm having the time of my life. But here I am now in high school and the tides have changed. You know, things are changing for me internally and externally. So it was really big for me to understand that phase is what tied me to this theme for this month. So during high school, makeup was super big for me. I wore makeup every day. I was a cheerleader. I was in choir. I was just around. So makeup was huge for me. And it got to the point where my skin was nice underneath, right? It wasn't like I had bad skin. Like right now, I have no makeup on, which is why my eyes look crazy puffy. But I didn't wear makeup necessarily to conceal stuff, but I would always say it was to enhance my other beauties. Whether I believe that later in life, that's another conversation. But I can say that for me during that time, makeup was so big because I really wanted to feel seen. Okay? Now let's get back to this modeling situation, right? Here I am, y'all, in my cute little heels. I remember the shoe to the T. It was beautiful. Never wore them before. I love them though. And I was like, okay, I can do this. Did my little walk. I had a little, what's it called? Off the shoulder shirt. I pulled that thing down. Bow. Y'all, I felt so good. And the walk to the audition was so like just hesitant. Have no confidence. I have no faith in myself in this goal I'm trying to go accomplish. I was number 1 on the list, y'all. Number 1 to audition for this organization. Number 1 to say, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get a spot. And I did. I got that spot. I got onto the organization and I was able to do different things. But the one thing I wanted to point out about that example is my walk on the way back to my dorm was totally different. You would have thought I walked in heels all the time. And for me in that moment, I had intention, I had confidence, I had an understanding, and I knew what was needed in order to make sure I did not fail. I know y'all like, are we supposed to be talking about wardrobe? We are. Y'all got headphones now. That's how I can record like this. But we are. We're talking about wardrobe, right? The thing that we don't understand is we do certain things in order to make sure that we feel confident in ourselves. We make sure that we are comfortable with the certain mindsets that we have or that we carry on our shoulders. And just that example, we saw the 2 different sides. I wasn't confident. I was terrified. I was a freshman in college. Who cares about me? Like, no, how am I going to be seen? No one's going to, give me the time of day. All these beautiful women around, men, because it was both. Who am I? I can't even walk in heels. But it was so crazy because after, whether I knew I had the spot or not, I was intentionally more confident because I knew I did my thing. I left everything I had right there. I knew that I did not allow my fear or my doubt in myself or something I had never explored before keep me from trying something new and actually remaining excited about this opportunity, y'all. I remember when I first saw them, they came to our orientation, and then they also were going down the halls in our dorm, banging on doors and talking to people, and I'm just like, I would be like, y'all, I love it. I love the energy. And I remember they were like, well, we're having auditions this day, come out, do your thing. And that was my moment. I'm like, I'm going to be there. I don't know anything about y'all outside of the fact that I like what y'all do, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to be a part of it. And that's exactly what I did. Made some amazing friends, had some crazy experiences, and I learned so much about myself. So let's talk about this personal wardrobe unpacked. In these next couple episodes, we are going to be unpacking the internal and external wardrobes that we carry around every day. Today, as I said, I am plain Jane. It's so crazy because I was getting dressed talking to my friend Jaleesa, who you guys are going to see on other episodes. And I had this t-shirt on. I'm not going to lie to y'all. This is my pajama shirt. Don't judge me. But I was putting on some clothes and I put on some pants. I was going to put on a nice shirt. But I'm like, wait a minute. Why does this make me feel like I'm in these like I'm out here? I'm in these streets. Not in that way, but just I felt really comfortable and confident. Like I didn't need to put anything extra into my outfit to feel confident. That for me was like, oh yeah, this episode is going to align. It is going to make sense. It is going to make me feel good about it because y'all already know if it don't align, it ain't the time. It's just not gonna happen. But it's so crazy because I am always big on when I go out in public, I want to look a certain way. I don't want anyone to say anything about me on a stereotypical level. I don't want anybody to say anything about me on a personal level, from a perspective, from any level, right? I don't want anyone to have any inclination about me that I didn't give you. So, appearance, ooh, y'all, like that, okay? Y'all probably didn't even see it, and I just outed myself. Anyway, appearance is everything, and I have to start there. So growing up for me has always been beauty is pain. It has always been keeping up with, again, my appearance, making sure that I iron my clothes. You know, those simple things where you would have to sit there and be like, why do I have to iron everything? You don't want to be out here looking busted and wrinkled. And you talk about people now that may be out here wrinkled and busted. So it's some of those things that are so small when you're growing up, when you're thinking back in your childhood and you're like, why in the hell was this so big back then? But then until you're in those positions and you understand, you don't realize how much of an impact it has on you now. It may be as small as you hated ironing as a kid. So now all your clothes are wrinkle free. They come straight out the dryer and you hang them so they don't wrinkle. You Scotch guard everything. I don't know. But that's what you do. Shit, all your stuff is tight. Whatever makes you feel good. But those small things happen because of your internal feelings, and we do it in an external way. So, I know. Long walk, short drink. When it comes down to our internal feelings, a lot of us do not put effort into something when we don't feel it is going to be worth it. If you are having a bad day, if you wake up and you just feel like, you know what, it's raining outside, it's gloomy, I'm gonna dress the part. I'm going to, make sure I'm not wearing shoes that are gonna get wet. We try to cover it up with things that make sense to anyone that's listening, but in reality, we may actually have some emotional connection to that decision. For example, today it's raining, and I woke up really sluggish. I didn't have a thought yet. I didn't have a visual of the sky. I didn't know. But emotionally, I know I have other things going on. And my first thought was, oh, it's raining. That's why. But in reality, I know I'm carrying a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress right now. So my first decision was to not change my clothes. Like I said, this is my pajama shirt. Yeah, I left the house, so my pants are changed. But I had no desire to get dressed. When I tell y'all, I had a meeting with my boss. And my hair was out. But she had just saw me with my wig on. And for y'all that don't know about appearance code switching, hey, I had to throw this thing on and figure it out. But it was just sitting on top of my head. So I had my little head wrap on, made it look all nice and professional, y'all cute, you know what? And it was so funny to me because I'm like, girl, you feel more embarrassed in wanting to close yourself off in that state as opposed to just coming as you are. So when I was getting dressed, that clicked for me. I'm comfortable. I have never had my head held higher because I'm in a state where I feel like there's nothing you can tell me. I am in a positive space. I am in a space where I understand who I am, and no amount of clothes is going to change that. Now, where did I go? Did I go to Old Navy? Yes, I did. But that's not the point. My appearance is not based in my emotions. It should not be based in my emotions, because the same way I made a decision to wake up in a sluggish state based on the weather, I also chose to wear certain outfits to validate my emotional state, right? So when we're in a positive headspace, when we're in a fun summer breeze type of headspace, we tend to lean more towards some bold colors, something flowy, something that's going to draw attention, because we are in that mindset that makes you feel as though I can do this. I can take on the world. It is summertime. I am free. I am open to understand different things about myself. I'm about to meet new people. It's the beginning of the fun seasons, right? So we tend to want to do something different. We try new things during this time. But let's flip it, okay? Same thing. You're not feeling it. You're sick. You're sick, but you have to go to work. You're probably going to pick them same slacks. You're going to pick them slacks that you know they're going to be comfortable. So when I'm sitting here in this chair, I'm not stressed out and worried about it. I don't have to sit up straight because the belt loop has never been right in these pants, but they cute. So now I got to sit here and make sure I'm sitting up straight. You're comfortable. You're probably going to wear a regular old button up. And you're going to call it a day because you feel like, you know what, it's not even worth putting the energy in. The same way we can be in those mental states and put effort into working through them throughout your day to make sure other people aren't affected by it, to make sure that you are no longer affected by it. It is the same thing with our appearance. People do not understand the psychological connection to your physical appearance and your emotional state. So if I'm sitting here and I know today is going to be hard, it is going to be emotionally draining, how can I surround myself with things that are going to remind me of the positive, that's going to remind me of the happiness or gratitude that I should have? The first step is getting dressed. You have to remove the funk. You have to relinquish yourself from that state of mind that you woke up in. You have to separate yourself from the environment that is not serving you. So we do it a lot with our homes, right? We do it a lot with our homes, the feng shui, making sure the energy is flowing. It's positive. Excuse me, y'all. And when we do that, it's like a sense of purging. We're opening the space up to the opportunity to have a different outcome. When we're talking about this theme, guys, when we're going to be jumping into it, I'm going to have a lot of references to outfits. I'm going to have a lot of references to your favorite pieces. I want you to connect it. I want you to understand yourself. Everybody may not be clothes. Some people may be hair. Some people may be jewelry. Some people may be nails. I ain't got no fingers. Some people may be nails. Some people may be makeup. Whatever your external display is, find it and figure out one moment, and I want you to drop it in the comments, one moment where you felt like, you know what, if it wasn't for this thing, my emotional state would probably be all over the place. That one thing is your anchor. It allows you to figure out how you are going to show up. How do you connect your emotions to your external self? There are so many things that we don't realize we do. Shit, it could be you in your purse, right? Maybe you walk around with a very specific purse. You can be a creature of habit with this one thing because you know no matter what, it brings your security. You know that purse has never let you down. It always holds your stuff. You never forget anything because it is always that one purse. That is your sense of security. That is your psychological connection to that item. We do the same thing with our appearance. We do the same thing with the way we interact with people. There's always a psychological connection, but this month is for us to figure out how to do that. What is it? Is it a hindrance to us? Is it something that's actually benefiting us? Do we lean more into it when we're having a good day or a bad day? Is it something that we look to other people to validate because we didn't do enough for it? How is it that we find things that is specific for us to feel validated, specific for us to make us kind of take a step back, and yet we're still looking for other people to validate those things? I am a retail therapy queen. Does my husband believe in it? Absolutely not. But for me, it makes me feel good, even if it's temporary. Because at the end of the day, I know I'm personally going to find things that is going to fuel, honestly, I'm about to say it, but I don't necessarily 100% believe it because I know the truth. But I try to find things that are going to fuel my coping mechanisms. Like I said, for me, my appearance is big. So I may buy a wig. I may buy a new outfit. I may invest in a new planner for my business. I may invest in a phone holder or something like that that's going to make me feel like, you know what, I can be productive here. I can show up in this way. I can present myself with this image, and that is going to make me feel better. A big thing about me personally is personal side, social stuff, meaning like family, friends. Yeah, those are really it. Because family and friends is always really big for me. My own personal things is always on the back end. But when it comes to those two things, it's hit or miss if it's going to affect me, right? Obviously, if I have an argument with my husband, that's going to make me sad for the day. It's going to piss me off. It's going to put me in a funk. But they don't disrupt me or disrupt my flow the way failure in my business, failure in my schooling, failure in anything that has to do with someone else. Oh my gosh, it will shut me down. So when I'm thinking about my tangibles, those things that I have a psychological connection to, it has to produce something productive for those categories. So that was a lot, but it's so crazy because y'all know when I get going or I start to think about these different connections, that's huge for me. And it's kind of crazy, so I'm gonna tie something else in here that's kind of random, but knowing me, I'm gonna find some way to connect it. So right now, you guys know I'm still getting my second master's. I keep stopping y'all because I'm like, no, I don't need it. It's okay, like just stop. But I do and I will. So right now I'm working on my second master's, and it's in clinical mental health counseling for everybody that doesn't know. And last night we had an assignment on the 4 horsemen of communication by Gottman's therapy. And it was so interesting because obviously my first thought was like, 4 horsemen, what are we talking about? Because it's a Christian school too, so it threw me off a little bit. But we're sitting here and we're discussing those various forms of communication that leads to divorce. My specialty is going to be family and couples therapy. So this was like my bread and butter. I was super excited. And it was, follow me guys, contempt, stonewalling, criticism, and there's one more that I'm missing. I think it was like distracting or something like that, y'all. Now I'm about to look it up and make sure I can tell y'all exactly what it was. But while I'm doing that, and those 4 were so interesting to me because I'm sitting here trying to have a conversation with different people, like thinking back on conversations with my husband and trying to figure out where do I land. Oh, defensiveness. Okay, so criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling. So I'm having this conversation with myself, writing my paper, even talking to other people and trying to figure out like, what does this look like? Because I wanted to make sure I fully understood. Nevertheless, full circle, I'm thinking back to examples with my husband. And I'm like, how do I fall into one of these categories? What category do I fall into? What category does he fall into? Does it change based on our response to one another? Does it change based on our psychological connection to what's going on? And of course it does. But I can say personally, I am a stonewaller. Okay? I can be all of them at some point. But for the most part, something that consistently comes up with us is stonewalling. And I thought it was so interesting and important to discuss for this video because when we're addressing our certain wardrobes, we do not address it in a way that is beneficial or effective. We have a habit of either really criticizing or stonewalling the situation. Some of us may stonewall in the way that we hide it, right? That fake it till we make it category, where we are trying to understand if it's going to be important. Is it something that is going to contribute to the day? Or is it something I'm just going to put off until, it comes back around or I have the time to deal with it? Is this important enough for me to address? Stonewall, right? Criticize, right? We may criticize it so much to where we're like, you know what? You want to be sad so bad, then go ahead. Just dress the way you want. Let people know how you really feel. Let them ask all the questions. But then when you get in that personal space and you have people that are entering it, you start to criticize yourself. Oh my gosh, why did you do that? Why do you always show up this way when you're sad? Why do you always let your emotions take over? We have this battle. But at the end of the day, we do not realize that it all started with us not addressing the issue. We're not addressing our issues. So whereas everyone has our four horsemen, when we're having different interactions with other people, when we're having interactions with ourselves, right? Because we all can criticize, be defensive, have contempt, and stonewall internally. But at the end of the day, I find that we have these two more often than not. We're going to fake it till we make it, or we're going to criticize every decision we make that we think is going to be beneficial for ourselves. But we never address it. We never find a way to actually evaluate what is going on to make me want to make that decision. We don't step into a space that allows us to be open and free about various situations that we may be having on a regular basis. Why do you always wear black? Why do you always find yourself not being so bold and free in your appearance? Is it because you think that you don't want people to see you? Is it because that you think that someone will criticize your choice of clothing? Do you think that it's because your mom never let you wear certain things, so now you just got comfortable in that complacent state? What is it? So, I feel let's say this episode was really a way for us to understand what dressing up your value looks like. How are you going to show up and understand that your value is based in you? I already know how it goes. After a while, this baby starts tripping. But your value is you. Your value is your decision. Your value is going to be a mindset that you can control. But we can't control a damn thing until we realize it's happening. It is an environment that we set up. It is an environment that we allow others to add to. And it is something that needs to be addressed so we don't continue to criticize for the work that we're doing to be comfortable, to be content with our mental state, because you may not be okay. You may not be ready to deal with it. You may actually want to fake it till you make it. But I think that we all are in a position to where we're choosing to live in an avoidant state instead of, you know what, one day at a time. One piece of this issue or challenge at a time. We don't do that. So dressing up your value is going to be you. It is what makes you tick, what makes you run through the day with fire and make you feel good about yourself, not add to the sad and depressed, add to the anxious thoughts, add to the stress. But when you're walking away, when you're in your bubble, when you're in your zone, you're good because your value is present. Your value is taking the front seat because it knows where it is no matter what mental state you're in. But that's just one episode. Next episode, we will be talking about, y'all know I never remember anything. All right, showing up in society authentically. This episode, we definitely covered the surface level of that conversation, but next episode, May 15th, which is your girl's birthday, I'm super excited. We are going to dive into that. What does it actually look like to show up authentically? This is going to touch on the audacity of women values, which is raw, reflective, revolutionary, and of course, resilient. So definitely be prepared for that. Get your notebooks because we are going to be talking about it. And if I'm lucky, we'll have a guest, y'all. But as always, I'm super appreciative of you. I love talking to you guys. I love having these deep conversations, planning them out and making sure it aligns with everything going on in the world. But right now we are going to be touching on May, which is unpacking your personal wardrobe. So make sure you come back on our next episode. Remember, we are bi-weekly on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you don't see it at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please just give it a couple hours, y'all. Either the damn download was too slow or your girl forgot. But I'm super excited. Like I said, make sure you go support our partner, Her Movement, at Her Movement 6398 on YouTube. Okay, and then obviously Her Movement on Instagram and Facebook. Definitely go follow us, support. We do have a gala coming up here in July for fibroids awareness. So please make sure you support. If you haven't already, you need to go follow my pages. Woo! And support some of the videos that we're posting to promote our gala. Other than that, that's all the updates I have. Oh, Say Magazine, okay? Say Magazine issue 2 drops on Monday, May 5th. Okay, issue 2 is called Lifestyle Babes. Definitely make sure you support the men and women that have contributed their stories to this issue. I'm super, super excited to share them with you. I am in love with the layout. It's beautiful. I love the stories. I love involving everybody into this project. So make sure you do that, May 5th. If you're interested in being in one of the magazines, please make sure you put a comment in the description. Put a comment below. Y'all, I think that's it for me because I am messing up. Put a comment below, send me an email, DM me, anything like that, and I would love to get you guys in the next issue, which will be launching in September. More information to come. But like I said, that's it. I promise. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch our videos. Next episode will be coming out May 15th. I can't wait. Bye, guys.